It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Enoch Adejare Adeboye, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
How you doing? How was your weekend?
Oh, thank God. I don't know if other parents do like me, but last minute, over the weekend, I decided to change my children's school.
Eh?
What happened?
Last minute? What happened?
So my children have had to always face the tankers and container and their madness at Satellite Town. And I've been patient through it, hoping for a better future for them. The school is good, but now I've decided to stop worrying because the truth is when I'm at work here and it's school season, I'm sure my BP is like 10 times.
But you're worried about the school bus taking them through that traffic and
I just want to
trailers and
they're
tankers.
safely in school, and then when they have to come home, I'm worried till they get back home. And then in between that, I'm worried about falling tankers and all of the drama that's happening. So now that they're constructing the Mara Road, I had a working weekend arguing on what to do, what's best, and my husband and myself. I concluded that I'm tired of it because I'm the one who has to worry about when they come home. By the time their dad is home, the old dust has settled, and it happens daily. So I just decided
the school close by.
Yes, there's a new school. I'm willing to take a chance on that school because I'm sure that that's safer for them. And I decided to do it just now. Unlike when other parents are done, I just decided. So today, after work, I'm going to
never too late to make a good decision.
Yeah. Sometimes it just drops. Like,
this is
the way to go.
Fantastic, well done. How are you doing, Mariam? How was your weekend? Did you rest, sleep?
Yes, I did. I think I rested well this weekend. Yeah. I was up very early Saturday morning. I had some stuff to do. I love, you see, when I have to go and get all these pieces for the house and things like, well, no, not flowers, these are pieces for the house. I got some lamps recently. It was so exciting. I woke up first thing in the morning and went all the way to Lekki to get there. I stopped by her house. She did not even bother to answer me. Anyways, but Nigerian Conservation Foundation is doing a crowdfunding and it's geared towards improving our environment and the air, especially for our children. So I'm going to be asking all of you, you're going to help me do a video so we can help enlighten people on the importance of having clean air for our children, for our future generation. We want them to breathe clean air, and NCF is doing a lot towards that and achieving that project. So join us and NCF as on this crowdfunding project.
That's it. Well done.
You got me there with the children.
Yes. How are you doing, Lucy?
Oh my God, it was.
I just like the top. There's just something about it.
Thank you.
It's the glitter.
Thank you. It was a roller coaster for me on Friday. You know, the kids were changing their own school as well, and so I was in school trying to sort out the school bus, trying to sort out the fees, trying to sort out the classes, uniform, everything. I was exhausted. So Saturday, by 6 a.m., my body had woken up. I told my mind, go back to sleep. Nobody. I put off my phone and everything, so there was no way I could have even taken any call at the time. But I'm happy. School has resumed today for the kids. They were excited. My son is so excited not to be going to the boarding.
Oh, my God.
And he was like, Mommy, I missed you. I missed you. I missed the home. I'm happy. And I was like, you never convinced me in the first place. I remember that anytime we go visit the sister, he would cry that he wanted to. So he wanted to go to the boarding just to be with the sister. He got there was no opportunity to even be with the sister. And,
of course.
You know, he's so happy. I just wish them a fruitful new session, new school. And everything.
What I like about my school is that they skip the Monday rush. So they make us resume on Wednesday. So when all you are trying to kill yourself on Monday, we are still relaxing. So today, tomorrow, we're just going to go there to fill in new classes, meet the teachers. So by the Wednesday, you drop them. They don't want to see your face.
Okay, my daughter's school too is resuming on Tuesday instead of on Monday. And my son, they resume on Wednesday instead of on Monday.
The Monday rush is always
crazy. So I'm happy that I have a few days to just check it out. All right, good. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right. Let's start with the nation. Presidency. Buhari will respect court verdict on VAT. Osun government advises residents on flood prevention. Knocks for Gumi over visit to Igboho town. 5 top bank Banks posted 1.6 trillion naira gross earnings in 6 months. Sanction for forex defaulters take off. Doctors snub president's plea to end strike. An FCT judge for probe overruling on Soludo. Okay.
So major headline. Enoch Adejare was responding to the states passing the VAT law in various states.
Taking the federal government to court.
Yes, and taking the federal government to court. And the FIRS also getting a stay of execution from the appeal court on these old matters. And he said that, the president is a law-abiding citizen of the country, and his precedents, so he would follow. He will wait out the highest court on this matter, and he will obey the rule of law on this matter. That's his reaction. So we'll go there.
Well, I was going to add a few things to that also, because as many of you know, based on, I think it was the former Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adesina, was saying that... Adeosun. Thank you. I said that 55% of the total VAT was generated in Lagos State. And was saying that based on this indication, Lagos may be contributing about 419.6 billion in the same year to the coffers. And same with Governor Wike of Rivers State was saying that they generate quite a bit. And so the argument continues that we must ensure that each state gets according to what they generate. And so from the list I'm seeing here, it says Southeast is the region that generates the least, about 91 billion. So it says, I think Southwest is 256 billion. Northwest is second with 154 billion. South is third with 119 billion. And Northeast is 107. North Central is 106. And Southeast is 91 billion.
One state that I'm surprised that their House of Assembly is not on this already is Ogun State. Ogun State has more industrial estates than any other state that I know of. And is the least developed in terms of the roads around the industrial estates. Agbara as case in study. So I was thinking Ogun State people will be provoked by what Lagos State is doing to do the right thing, get their VAT, and develop their states.
Let's take a few more stories in action. Yes, Mariam?
Yes. So the leadership of the resident doctors met with the president about less than 48 hours ago, and the president had appealed to them to please return to work while they concluded on their demands. And concerning their salaries that they were asking for, the president was like, when they get back to work, they'll do the proper investigation to make sure, vet everybody, and then payments would resume. But the doctors are saying they are not going back. Now, why would the president be asking them to go back? That first of all, their salaries have to be paid. They are being owed salaries. They said there's a shortfall from 2014, outstanding salaries from 2014 to 2021. Salaries shortfall owed from 2014 to 2016, and salaries from January to August this year. And they also said that schools have resumed. They cannot pay fees because they have not been paid. That COVID-19 is killing people. They don't have drugs. They don't have PPEs. That as doctors, they have to buy their own PPEs. So why would the president ask them? And that's for the judiciary, the court case. They're saying that the judiciary should look upon them with some mercy and plight. That how would they feel if, knowing that doctors haven't been paid all this time? So clearly, this is. It looks like the president may have to order for their salaries to be paid first before they will find themselves back at work.
Yeah. So we know that the Central Bank of Nigeria banned selling forex to borrow the change, and it designated other banks to handle it. So as a result of that, there have been alarms that there's a lot of malpractice going on. Customers are trying to play pranks. They will come and say they're traveling, they'll get the forex and they wouldn't travel. They'll present fake visas and all that. And so the Central Bank of Nigeria gave them some time to put their acts together, but now they say they are done with the warning. They are going straight to naming and shaming those banks who engage in that way. They planned initially to publish their names on just their website, but they said they're extending it to the daily. So if you are, not adhering to the rules and regulations of the central bank and you are caught, your name will be published and you'll be sanctioned. So they're taking it very seriously.
Okay, let's move on now to the punch. 5 northern states, 2 southwest, 2 south are among top beneficiaries as the VAT sharing formula. Unilag Visitation Panel alleges contract splitting Procurement Act violation. Agencies, traders obstructing the Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta Expressway project, says federal government. Mother faints as Lagos surgeon kills 18-year-old admission seeker. Ex-convict wears army uniform, asks police to release suspect. Lagos DPO's missing pistol. Police release lady, remove officer from Punch's report. Ogun rice smugglers kill customs officer, agency probes attack. Nigeria loses 247.61 billion naira in 100 days of Twitter ban. Soludo's assets, CJN orders disciplinary action against FCT judge. And Lamido meets Obasanjo, says nobody is safe. Okay, let's start with the human interest story.
Yes. So at about 11:30 p.m. on Friday in Surulere, a police sergeant attached to the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, Yaba, Lagos State, shot dead an 18-year-old admission seeker, Monsura Ojuade. So they came for a raid in that area, and they were asking the residents to go into their houses. I think there was a particular leader, community leader, who was standing outside. According to his side of the story, he said the policemen were asking them to go inside, that they came for a raid. I think they were chasing an armed robber. And then he just went in 3 minutes and he heard a gunshot. And by the time they came out, a young girl of 18 who was standing in front of her house was shot dead. They said the bullet pierced through her thighs and she couldn't walk. She was bleeding profusely. They had to take her to different hospitals that rejected her. At the end of the day, it was a private hospital that pronounced her dead. And the parents were crying. The mother fainted about 2 to 3 times on Saturday when she heard that she had died and there was nothing she could do. This particular girl is awaiting admission, and she had scored 238 in her JAMB scores. They were still, you know, everybody was just... And the policeman who shot finally ran away. So when they were coming into that estate, they registered their names. But when they had done the deed and they left, they, you know, just disappeared like that. But however, according to the police, said they have been arrested. The man who shot the particular policeman, I can't get his name right now, said he's been arrested and they are going to investigate. And nothing has been said about what sort of compensation they are going to give to the parents of this, you know, young girl. I think the police should do something about that.
This would have gone different ways. Probably, yes, they shot her. But could they have, you know, followed them to the hospital? At least the hospital would have taken her in, knowing that there was a police officer beside them. They allowed that girl bleed to death. Yes. Anyway, there's a story from Ogun State. This ex-convict has been arrested for impersonating a military man. Very funny story. He now wore this uniform. His name is Segun Ogundeji. Went to this police station and demanded the release of someone in the cell. Release him. Unfortunately for him, when he came, there was this corporal, they said, with the Air Force. So the corporal was like, didn't you not see that I'm your guy? You do not even hail me. So they were now arguing back and forth. So the police said, wait first. And now started asking questions. Now realized he's not even a military officer. He's an ex-convict that wore their uniform and came to get someone else. That's how he was arrested. Home video. Drama.
Oh, my
wow. Okay. I wanted to take the story of this DPO's and his girlfriend issue. Because now, in this country, I found it interesting that the writer wrote the story and found a way to sort of try to implicate the state CID, the Deputy Commissioner of Police for Kwanti, into the matter. But the state CID Deputy Commissioner has ordered the release of the girl. They called on her family to come and bail her, and the lady was released. I don't understand how the Police Service Commission think deploying the DPO is what is good, but the girl has been released, even though she was held for a dismissal, and we don't know how far the investigation is going. But Punch report now says that the DCP tried to cover up that DPO because they're from the same region, and that it was due to the report of the Punch that they now had to release the girl. No. If things are done by system, then they have to be... You need to give credit to that. Yeah. Fortunately, in the same report, they had other accounts that said, no, that's not the person of the DCP. I don't know how his person consigned the story in the first place. You know, a DPO and his girlfriend, you shouldn't have tried to bring the DCP.
So as a follow-up to the Lagos-Ota-Abeokuta road, remember we took that story that federal government promised to fix the road. So I think Mr. Olukayo Dekokola went to inspect. He's from the federal government. And he said that the street trading around that flyover is a slowing down construction and compounding the gridlock in that area. And also they're trying to ensure that those things are cleared out so that work can continue. But the good thing is that they are taking it very seriously, and the federal government has sent representatives to inspect and ensure that work is ongoing. His Ogun State counterpart, Mr. Umar Bakari, was saying that the project that I'm trying to say exactly what he said here. He said that between the carnage 17 plus 100 to change 18 plus 600, these are technicalities, right? But I'm trying to get his exact quotes here. But the point is that he was saying that I can't find his statement again. Wow. Anyway, the point is it's been fixed, so we have to go on a break. Okay, let's go on a break. You have another story quickly? Hurry up. Go ahead.
So the upper area court.
I don't have that time. Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll take it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So are there two more stories in Punch here?
So the CJN, through the NJC, that's the Nigerian Judicial Service Commission, has summoned the upper area court judge who is looking into the assets of the former CBN governor, Soludo. I don't know how that matter was filed before an upper area court, and that upper area court called the CJN, summoned him to come and answer to questions around his assets. And because it is out of his jurisdiction, the CJN is doing the right thing. They're summoning all the judges who are now selling judgments to come and clear how come you have authority over some issues. Matters that should be filed in separate courts are filed before you, and you will not deny jurisdiction and proceed to matters like that. So that's in point. The other one is the Twitter ban. It's 100 days since the ban.
Only?
Yes,
longer.
They gave an account of how much we have lost because of that.
Oh, budget?
Not budget. The Punch reports.
Okay.
So we've lost about 247.61 billion naira due to the 100 days that we have not been on Twitter. We have joined some countries, about 6 of them in Asia, that are not on Twitter.
I'd like to know the parameters Punch used to get those figures.
Yeah, exactly.
And who are they're talking about business. But now everybody is now on VPN. I don't know how to use that.
I was told that Twitter is back. If people said that Twitter is back, I didn't get that official.
No, you know the Minister for Information at one time lifted our hopes that when he said that they're in talks with Twitter and it will soon be back. So what most people now did is, go on the VPN, whatever it means.
I have somebody that told me he's back, so I don't know. I've not confirmed mine. Okay, moving on to the point, which we don't have any story, but fierce legal tussle looms over VAT Act Constitution. Obasanjo Amosun Oloyede, others Grace Ishola's daughter's wedding in Abeokuta, Sanwo-Olu's and politics of second term in Lagos. Reasons why Nigerians want Yahaya Bello in 2024 real. Okay. Ebonyi residents agonize over the IPOB's weekly sit-at-home order in Southeast. Okay, let's move on now to Daily Sun. How police extort victims before...
Daily Trust?
Daily Trust. What did I say?
Sun.
Daily Sun. Oh, Daily Trust. Thank you so much. How police extorts victims before tracking kidnappers and thieves. Terrorism sponsors court fixes September 17th for arraignment of 400 suspects. Unilag crisis festers as panel uncovers 3 billion naira tax fraud contract splitting. Aviation FG approves new handling rates 35 years after. Row over airport concession deepens as NLC summons aviation unions. And sit-at-home order IPOB inflicting more injuries on people. Igbo people seizing their money. Okay, stories.
The major headline. So Nigerians are complaining seriously that the Nigerian police allegedly demand and collect money before tracking kidnapped victims. Even when you lose a device, they collect about 50 to 100,000 naira, depending on your bargaining power, before they can even track whether it's a phone or a car, whatever it is. They also said, according to the Daily Trust reports, they carried out an extensive report and interrogated a lot of victims. They said the tracking equipment used to locate bandits, terrorists, and kidnappers have been inactive for the past 7 months. The equipment to track down phones haven't been subscribed to since the beginning of this year.
Wow.
And some police officers are saying that even a whole division receives just about 10,000 naira to run that division. So they are asking for funds that they do not have enough funds. But the police authority, however, replied, as usual, to say that they are not allowed to collect money from anyone who needs to be any kidnapped victim or anyone who needs to track either the car or the phone or their lost items. And for anyone, any officer who requests for that money should be reported to the police station. But, you know, the eyewitnesses and some of the people interviewed are saying that one particular man said that he lost his car, and by the time he got to the police, they were, after the armed robbers had beaten him, they were still asking him to pay about 100,000. He just got upset and left everything. And a lot of them had their stories on how this happens. So I would like the police to, you know, begin to investigate this. So we know that they lack funds, actually. So they should, you know, take that to the appropriate quarters where they're supposed to receive funds and make noise about it. We Nigerians can help them shout the matter so that they will give them funds. But going back to ordinary Nigerians, the victims who must have suffered slaps and beating, and then request, or they kidnap your sibling, and then they are asking you to pay before they can track them. It's unfair. So it's not about coming out to explain yourself. Tell us what we need to do as Nigerians. We will help you fight that battle, but those victims should be treated as such.
Okay, another story.
I do have another story. So the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed September 17th as the day for the arraignment of 400 suspects of terrorism, those sponsoring terrorism. If you remember, the presidency in March had named some people. They said they were mostly BDC operators who were using, you know, their operations to channel and transfer monies to Boko Haram terrorists. They said some of them were in the UAE, and so they were arrested. But it's taking forever for them to be properly prosecuted, you know, to the point that even Mr. Femi Falana had written, you know, to the AGF saying that these people should have been prosecuted by their state AGFs, by attorney generals by now, and it's taking so long. So we are hoping that by September 17th, they will be prosecuted. I think you also alleged that some of them were, you know, that in many instances, the suspects were arrested, paraded by the police and other law enforcement agencies, but released to continue their criminal activities. Yes. So they are alleging that some of them may have even been let go. So we'll wait to see what happens on September 17th, and I'm sure Mr. Femi Falana will have his eyes on the
I was going to take
proceedings.
The story concerning the airport concession. If you recall, we had taken the story some weeks back that federal government planned to concession the airports. However, NLC is raising an objection. So what they've done is that they've called a meeting of the three major unions. That's the National Union of Air Transport Employees, that's the NAUTE, and the Association of Nigeria Aviation Professionals, that's ANAP, and NAPI, which is the National Association of Aircraft Pilots and Engineers. So they're going to be meeting in Abuja on Thursday to understand what their individual grievances are, because they're seeing what they can do to stop in everything they can the concession. And even if it's necessary, according to them, many parts of the airport, of the aviation sector have been already concessioned. So what exactly is federal government concessioning again? But with that meeting on Thursday, they will have a one voice on exactly what their plans are to stop the concession from the federal government. Any other story in Daily Trust? We move on. Okay, moving on now to Vanguard. Yoruba race has nothing to benefit from seceding, says Olubadan and others. Oluwo, okay. Panel orders Unilag to close accounts with commercial banks. Apapa, 200 policemen AWOL, says Lagos State government. Economic recovery, banks' earnings rise to 2.5 trillion naira, profits up by 5.1% to, that's 573 billion naira. Extends Zamfara Telecom shutdown to nearby states and strike FG to unleash EFCC, ICPC on resident doctors over training allowance. I wish I read that story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stakeholders in the real estate sector of the economy are calling on the president to extend the shutdown of telecommunications network currently operational in Zamfara State to other states in the Northwest. I took that story last week where Zamfara has been shut down from all the networks because the military is carrying out offensive attacks. And so the stakeholders in the real estate are saying that this is actually working in Zamfara right now. As a matter of fact, the bandits who are running from Zamfara are running into Niger State. They complained that they came in search of food, they shot a villager and abducted 2 women. So it's really hot in Zamfara at the moment based on that decision to take away networks and telecommunications. So they're asking that they extend it to other parts of the Northwest where they're having insurgency issues. And they are also saying that this boost in military offensive is even working because no military man or no security official will say they do not know where these bandits are living everybody in that area knows where they're living. So instead of waiting and sitting down for them to come and attack, and then you go back, it's better that you go on the offensive, like what is happening now. And the federal government can ensure that the military goes round at the same time, not just in one state like Zamfara, that it will have more effect. But Serap, however, differed in opinion, and they're asking the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy and also the NCC to reverse this suspension of networks and telecommunications, saying it's illegal. I would like them to see if it's yielding fruits, or if it's positive, if we're getting results. If we're getting results, why can't we stay on that till we get everything we want before looking at human rights and all that? We need to fish out these bandits. We need to end this.
So major headline.
Major headline, yeah.
So the Yoruba Appraisal Forum National Coordinator visited some of the Obas in the Southwest, and most of them, starting from the Olubado of Ibadan, some of Ogbomoso land, the Olowo of Owo, the Oluwo of Iwo land, and all of them, Onisan of Ekiti, all voiced that, that the Yoruba Nation agitation will not profit anybody, that, the Yoruba youth should encourage peace and desist from calling for secession. So that's basically the story.
Okay, so I really want to take this story, which this federal government with back and forth with the resident doctors. So now, federal government is now taking the back road, saying that there are some doctors that are involved in illegal allowances, training allowance. You know how they give doctors allowances? So some should not be collecting. Some, they put their names on the list. So because they are part of the those who are aggrieved concerning this money, they're going to start going after. They're going to send ICPC and EFCC to them for being part of the illegal.
It's simple. Give them their due. Those exactly. If you are found to do,
it's wrong timing. We have to run, but I want you to take the NDLA story before we go.
Oh yes, so we need to take this NDLA story.
We can't take any more story. Let me just take it in Daily Trust. I mean, the Nigerian Tribune. It says here that NDLA intercepts heroin, codeine in fresh drug bust at Lagos Airport.
Huge. Okay, I should take it. Murtala Mohammed Airport.
Exactly.
Murtala Mohammed Airport. 2 consignments. Over 10.350 kg of heroin, and then 25.2 kg of cannabis from South Africa. Then Tinkan Airport in Apapa, 40-foot container loaded with over 22,000 kilograms of Bacardine and codeine, and over 4,000 kilograms of analgesic tablets. Then some very 2 young children also were arrested for manufacturing cookies and even doing door-to-door delivery. Wow. Nigeria. Well, NDLA keep doing it.
I mean, NDLA, especially.
No, I think NDLA should have medical experts now talking about the long-term effect of the use of these drugs. People are running mad now.
But the audacity to take it through the ports. Our airport,
it's because they don't
a consignment
market. No, they done it for so long and gotten away with it. They did not realize that NDLA they have changed hands and things are changing.
On front page review, when we come back, we discuss our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So this morning, we're going to be discussing this new identity of being a transgender in Nigeria. There are quite a number of them, and many of them are actually celebrities. So the question is this a new accepted way of life? Especially because recently the General Overseer of the RCCG had said that God does not make mistakes. According to him, he created people, man and woman. Now, the conversation is not about homosexuality. It's important that we set the tone right. Transgender doesn't necessarily mean you're homosexual. It just means that you don't believe, you don't like your body, and you choose to change your gender. So if I'm a woman, born a woman, and I feel like, listen, I'm a tomboy, I'm a boy, I don't want these reproductive organs, I don't want all these parts of my body, I can take it out, and I can become, I can begin to start taking hormones to turn to a man. So these are things that we're seeing done in the West. And we're seeing more people, especially in this part of the world, making those kind of choices. And the conversation is, can we begin to accept these people? I'm not talking about, as I said, we know the law concerning homosexuality and lesbianism. We understand that very clearly. But transgender doesn't necessarily mean that you're being sexually active. It just means that you just want to change your body type. So what are your thoughts on this, especially in our society? And what's interesting is that the reality is that they're all around us. They are all around us, and they have human rights like us. So how do we begin to accept their decisions or their choices concerning their bodies? Want to start? I'm not looking at you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, this is an area that I am still learning about, and I'm, reading a lot about, history and how it is in Africa and our culture and things like that. So for me, the way I understand transgender is that I am born a certain way. Physically, I'm seen a certain way, like I'm seen as a woman. I have all the attributes of a woman. But inside my head, inside my brain, my thoughts, my mind, I feel strongly that I could be a man or vice versa. And so it gets to the point where you're so unhappy that until you act the way you feel inside your head, which is, oh, I'm meant to be a man, until you now live your life that way, then you will constantly be unhappy. So I've seen that, and I've seen in the West where of course, they have medical interventions that has helped them. People take hormones, and they're able to change their body, and then they have all sorts of surgery. But for me, why I say this is still new to me is we know of cross-dressers, men who dress like female, put the lashes and makeup on, and sometimes talk and have mannerisms like women, but do not necessarily change their gender. So they are able to just wear this clothes, act this way, and then not be, and then wash off and visit their, family members in the way that they are known, and, and move on. So they're able to live on both sides, switch both sides. So, so many people, like in Africa, we know that many of the things we don't understand, we tend to put it as either we say they're evil or they are confused or things like that. But the truth is, we now have a group of people who say they are born this way. And when we have this conversation, it's like, okay, so what is the way forward? How do we help them? Are there people who are confused? Is it a mental illness? Or is it just that some people are just born that way, really? Like, I'm a man inside and I can be a woman outside. People would say that many things in nature come, binary, male, female. But also in nature, we've seen some species that come as hermaphrodites and things like that. And, sometimes we need to ask the question that when we see people like that who are different from us, and it's nature. Maybe nature is not exactly male, female. Maybe there are some times that nature skips a pattern and creates something. And so for me, right now, this conversation is more about understanding what it is and how to move on.
Okay, let me come to BC. Your initial thoughts on this.
Yeah, so I've also been thinking about this. I remember when I started my coaching, one of the things we were taught was how we need to learn, understand, and accept human beings the way they are, or the way they present themselves to be. We've always, as a society, tried to control the narrative. So it must be this way, and if it's not this way, it's the other way. But life is beginning to open our eyes to see that it's not always this straight. Life is not that straight. There are certain mysteries that we may never understand till we leave this sphere. And you will be deceiving yourself to think that because this is where I stand, every other thing that is different from me is evil or wrong or bad and all that. I'm not in a position to give that judgment. But I also realize that some of these things happen. And the question I always ask is this person causing any harm to me or to the people around? Is this person being a nuisance in the society? Is this person taking out what is supposed to benefit all of us and taking it for themselves? What role is this person playing? it is not my job to invalidate the feelings of another person. So if you say that you're, looking like a female, but you are meant to be a male, that's your feeling. That's how you feel. I don't have a right to tell you not to feel that way because I do not believe it. Okay. The only thing I can do is to try to understand you. The only way I would have a problem is where you now bring it to my face and start causing me harm, physical, emotional, spiritual, or whatever harm you bring to me. That's when I know that we have a problem. But if you're still a functioning human being, this is just your belief, but you're able to do your work, you're able to help the society, you're able to, you're productive. Right. I wouldn't want to
Let me get Nima's thoughts on this. The issue of transgender in our society.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm with Daddy G on this. I think they're just two genders, but now I want to extend it. So we have a male gender, female gender, and the confused gender. That's how I see it. These are people who, when I started studying about these things and hearing them, I choose to stay with the psychologist's opinion that these are confused and it's a mental condition, people who need help. That's how I see them. Most of the times when we talk about, even when we took the story of Wale Jan on Friday, it's about children who were abused, sodomized as children, and who were confused as to what normalcy should be. And then they grew up, and then because they have rights now make that abnormality normal. I think the society, because we are in Nigeria, we only know how to do laws and enforce them or even abuse people at enforcing them. So we are at a place where we can't even help people. But what we should be looking at is how to help people get back to what God made them, what is normal. So God is not a God of confusion. You are made with certain biological features, and you say that, but in your mind, in the mind, the hermaphrodites are dealing with where they want to be. Those are the people who have a confusion that is obvious biologically.
God created them too.
God created... No, so I'm not saying that, but even they are the ones who should be having this conversation about where their hormones are pushing them more. So you have certain features, but your hormones are pushing you more. Like the one that called on the show. Yeah. We had one who called on the live, on one of our lives, that said he has a situation where he started seeing his period, he didn't see his period, he thought he was a girl, but he didn't see period and all of that. Those are the people who have these issues. Not you who think you just woke up, but because you flare off more. If you stay longer with your mom, you would like to dress female. It doesn't make you a female. So
I'm not going to put you on the spot because I like to bring. I like to get our callers and callers on 081-2705-3687, 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages on YouTube and on Facebook. We'd definitely like to hear your thoughts on it because if we say God is not a God of confusion, but there are hermaphrodites amongst us who are confused. We're not sure how God had placed them from the beginning. Did God make you a male? Did God make you a female? There are also situations where I grew up with people. I grew up with there's a young boy, I wouldn't mention his name, he was in my school, and he was all female. I mean, he walks like a girl, he talks like a girl, he has mannerisms. I mean, we loved him amongst us. He was just that person that in fact, we even gave him a female name, But this person was so bruised, bullied, because the boys rejected him. He was effeminate. Thank you, that's the word. So now he traveled, I think he went to Germany or something like that, where he found acceptance, He didn't become a female, but he found his own community of people like him. And then he was able to live a normal life. So shouldn't society help you? It's almost like we ostracize these people such that they feel they're outside the community. So the conversation really, when we come back on the break, is how do we accept people in this whereby they have no choice? They are different from us. Yeah. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the issue of transgenders in our society. Let me take Demola on the phone. Good morning, Demola. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning. So you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm a first-time caller.
First-time caller? I didn't hear that. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller.
Yes, welcome to the show, sir.
Yes, I would like to contribute to the... I want you to know that the world we are already, we are in a confused world. We are in a confused world in many things. From the point of view of, let me say, Christianity, there are certain things that have been before that have been happening. Concerning Sodom and Gomorrah, this happened in the Bible days thousands of years ago. That's when it came to lesbian or homosexuality. But one thing that this transgenderism that is like Bible did not really say directly. But there is something that the Bible made mention of, and that is effeminate. And it lists it as a sin. Do you know that every young child, male or female, when they are trying to metamorphose from childhood to adulthood, there's some level of confusion in terms of emotional imbalance. And they will see that there are lots of mistakes. The same thing when it gets to the creation of the part of our body. There are lots of, how will I put it, some errors. It might be natural, we see it, especially in the Western world, that most will not believe that something called spiritual. But thank God for this part of the world, we know that either Christian or any other religion, we know that there have been spiritual things. Even with our traditional stuff, they believe that there have been spiritual things.
Right. So, Demola, I think we lost our call. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I know that the mind is not open to direct apprehension by the observer. So, for instance, if I tell you that I'm having a headache, there is no way you can verify that I'm actually having that headache. You just have to take my word for it. And I think that is what happens when they say, this is how I feel from the inside. Let's not forget that we have a combination of two energies. So we have the male and the female energy in everybody. And for some people, it seems like the one side of the energy will now be higher than the other part of that energy in that same person. Your physical form may be that of female, but what if the way I am now, I strongly feel that I'm supposed to be a man, or that I am a man in my inside, probably because I feel my male energy higher than my female, and I tend to go to that direction. So it's about how they feel. But I think we need to understand that in all, what would Jesus do if he was here right now and he had these certain people who felt they are meant to be different? Would he crucify them? Would he throw them to the lake of fire? Would he punish them? Would he ostracize them? What is the approach that you think he will do to understand what they are going through? And probably if he feels they need help, or they come and say they need help, because you can't heal somebody who does not believe they are sick. So if they say, this is me and this is how normal I can be, how are we going to accept them for saying this is their own normal? Because we are the ones on the other side seeing it as abnormal.
So
let me let Nimna respond to this, and then I'll come to you, Mariam.
The safest place we can have this conversation is how there's an extra on a person and how to help that person walk it back. Just as we have a feminine, what they call the male having female side. We have female having male side, but this side of the conversation is not as loud as the other side, because what used to be funny was to have a man acting female. And as long as it's not your family member, everybody will be laughing. And nobody bothered about whether that was bullying, how they felt about the laughs. But that does not that does not mean that you take it extra and say, because I want to now change nature and become a female, and then go as far as they have gone now. Because for every mile given, they take a rope. They've now gone as far as now we see a man posting baby pregnancy photo shoots. It's confusing. And whether we like to have this conversation about their rights or not, there has to be that line. Every time regulation and control stops, They start overdue.
Okay, let me take my Aminat and I'll come to Mariam. Aminat, are you there? Thanks for calling. Aminat. Ooh, I'm so sorry. I kept you for a while. I do apologize. Go ahead, Mariam.
Okay, so one of the few things I just would like to list is, one, the culture of when you don't understand something, you fear it, and when you fear it, you hate it. So for me, I would like us to look at it this way. Where we don't understand it, we have a healthy curiosity about it, and then treat it with kindness to understand it and see how we can help it. Then secondly, we also need to look at this culture that's on our own side of how we feel like we're the normal ones and how to treat those who are different from us. Now, on the side of those who are different from us, at what point do we say that these are people that are struggling and we need to help them and not just allow people to just go with their feelings? Because as you said, it just keeps going. We now have a group of people who say, don't refer to me as he or she, refer to me as they, we are. I think there's a word that they use where they are not, they cannot tell you they are male or female, they cannot be singular. You refer to them as they. So like you, I would say, they are wearing a pink shirt. They are sitting there. So, binary. So the thing is, they are non-binary or something like that. So where do we stop? And then and then where is it that we're looking at our friend, our family member who may need help and we're unable to give it to them because we're saying, let them go with their feelings. So for me, really, this conversation should be about learning more, but learning more in kindness, learning more in love, not in hating someone, judging them in such a way that we punish them for the way that they say they feel, for the way that they claim that they were born.
Ima is calling from Kaduna. Thanks for calling. Are you there? Hello, Ima?
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. You're live. Go ahead, please.
All right. Good morning.
Go ahead, you're live.
All right, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, the matter we are discussing is a very serious issue. So oftentimes, we look at it from the aspect of the physical, but this thing is more.
Hope you're not listening to the TV. Okay, I have to cut it off at the time.
So, just as Miriam said now, so we have the conversations and learn more about these people to help them come back. It's true. To help them come back to find themselves. See, just yesterday I saw a picture of a guy who did a surgery to look like a dog. It's his right now. And now those ones say they're not be human again. So we see there's this overdue, and we must see the different system.
Where do we stop?
So we study them and help them and see how this mental road that they are now, whatever it's informing it, now we can help them walk back. Why do I have to buy the hormones? To help me validate how I'm feeling inside. I grew up with my mom as an only son. I loved the way she dressed. And so now I say, the way I'm feeling inside is to be my mom. I need help. If I now suffer the grief of losing her, I would want to be like her.
Or you love your dog so much.
Or I love my dog so much.
So you want to become a dog.
And I want to marry him. I marry dog. And, I will now go and pay for hormones to grow breast, pay for hormones to have a dog baby. And, I will now do photo shoot. Please now. The conversation is difficult, but we must have the conversation. And the conversation will not be to just accept them because they are not dangerous to society yet. Because whether you like it or not, when it's closer to home, your eye go clear. Nobody wants, but you are looking at them from far. As long as it's not my son, as long as it's not my family member, it's okay. There. So when it now becomes, what will you do?
So I think Rima has raised some really interesting angles to this. I mean, I said we have to wrap up on this conversation, but this is a conversation we need to continue to have because whether we like it or not, the population of transgenders is growing.
Because of this acceptance.
So where do we draw the line? Where do we stop it? Do we accept them for who they are? Do we help them? Do we feel they're in need of help and how to counsel them back to normalcy? What is it? Or do we allow them to continue to grow and then have more changing to dogs and animals and say, okay, this is how I feel? So we have to be very, very careful where we take this conversation to. I need to wrap up on this.
Let me just add one thing. So, when you come also to a point of, okay, I'm accepting that this may be this person's calling. I'm watching a program on Sky News, or I think Sky News or BBC, and it's young teenagers who took a decision of being transgender when they were much younger, and they are older and they are regretting the situation, and now are asking to sue hospitals and those and guardians who allow them to make those decisions at that age.
That's the confusion part, yes.
Yeah, so if I was there standing beside you and say, okay, go with your feelings, then you now grow older and you're now saying, I'm looking at it differently. Why didn't you do, you were the adult in this situation.
Should have known
Why
better.
Didn't you do something else?
Yeah, but that's assuming that they want to do it at a young age. We have men now, adults, who have grown, who have seen life and decide to take this way. So sometimes you assume that this person needs help. And because we don't see from the same lenses, we assume that what is normal to me means it's normal to everybody, and the other way it's abnormal. So I think we need to have the true conversation. Let us even understand exactly how they feel and when it started. From there, we may find the root cause.
Did you feel like feeling? Did you feel like not feeling?
Mental illness.
Let's go on a break.
Criminal illness.
We like to start conversations here, and definitely we're going to bring it back up, because the more we explore this conversation, we bring in more experts, have a better understanding, and look at all the various avenues, angles of this. Okay, that's it. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, joining us on the show now to speak on the nation's human rights abuse triggered by ill leadership and the imperative of getting it right going forward is the former president of the Committee of Defense of Human Rights, that's CDHR, Mr. Shukwa Ojo. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. It's good to have you on the show.
Nice to be here, too.
So, many of us have complained about human rights abuses. I mean, I think somebody was talking about in doing paper review how they are harassed by the police, and even normal citizens harassing those people working with them. You know, poor leadership, selection of leaders, where we elect leaders who end up harassing and abusing our human rights. As a people, even as a Nigerian, I feel emotionally abused by somebody. I totally feel abused by the utterances and the way they see or speak to us condescendingly sometimes. So, as somebody who projects human rights, as a people, how do we choose the right leader? We begin to think of the right leaders.
Unfortunately, choosing the right leadership in Nigeria is not as simple or straightforward again. I even want to say it has been taken away from the Nigerian people by the Nigerian Constitution, which has saddled that responsibility with the political parties. So me and you, we may not have any role to play, any say. We may influence, we may beg and say, please, help us choose this kind of people. While those in charge of the parties will determine who the leader will be. And that's what we have been experiencing all along. You see, the Constitution, if you don't belong to any of the political parties, you cannot be a leader. Only the parties can come up with candidates. Only the candidates put forward by parties can contest for positions in Nigeria. There's no room for independent candidacy. And we have been clamoring for that for a very long time. Allow people to join parties, allow others who don't want to join parties to also partake in leadership selection process. So at the end of the day, majority of Nigerians have been disenfranchised. You understand? That's why nowadays when people go to vote, look at the total number of those who voted for the winners vis-a-vis the population. Then you know that what we are running is not really a democracy. But beyond that, even let's face the reality now. The political parties, maybe what we can do is to let them know that, look, we are not satisfied with your leadership selection process. And we want you to up your game. We want leaders who will be human. We want leaders who will not turn around to abuse us.
So, but I'll come to you, BC, but aside from leaders, yes, we have, when we talk about leaders in our head, we're thinking the political leaders.
Yes.
But I'm even talking about a chief abusing his driver.
Yes.
Those are human rights. Can the driver come to maybe the organization, or to, how does that driver find help with this society that we live in, where everybody is harassing everybody?
Yeah, no, it is possible. The first thing is knowledge, education. Is that driver aware his right is being abused? If he's not aware, he will take it and tell God and say, God will help me, So education matters. That's why we have been clamoring human rights education should be taken to the schools. Let all the students know what their rights are, so that even if teachers abuse their rights, they know what to do. They know where to lodge complaints and to obtain redress for it. Let it be part of our culture.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need.
About culture, sir, Mr. Ojo, because for me, when we started this conversation, that's where I just went. We have a culture where we have a group of people who are the leaders, who should be revered, and they can tell or do anything without you, and you're not meant to question. Questioning it means you have no home training, you have no, you are not a well-brought-up person. And now we have a situation where we're talking of Western democracy, where we are picking these things and making it now part of our culture. First, do we not have to deal with culturally how we see each other and how we relate with each other before we now start institutionalizing it and putting it, as a system?
I think unfortunately, we have gone beyond that.
Okay.
Now, culture is also being determined by your legal system. We tend to overlook this. At times, the legal system you operate has a way of conditioning you and shaping you, straitjacketing you. This is how we want you to behave. This is how we want you to do things, and so on. And even the political system, we do also do that. When we import political system without trying to infuse into it our own cultural values, at the end of the day, we end up losing our culture because we want to internationalize. We want the international best practice.
Yes.
And then we lose our own identity. And at times, we also find ourselves in a situation where we are merged. Like the Nigerian nation, for instance. We have different nationalities with different culture put together within a map. And we want to evolve a national culture. When I hear the Nigerian culture, immediately I say, there's no Nigerian culture. But you have cultures in Nigeria of different people.
How does this work, really?
Yes.
Because in the histories of England, they had various small ethnic groups pick up what they call their common laws. And eventually they formed what is their norms and general laws.
Beautiful.
But they did not allow us our own.
Yes, that is it.
Because colonization came. And now we're at a spot where, how do we do this here now?
Yeah.
How do we collectively pick what is normal between us without their guide?
Yes.
Their standards that they use to remove some of our cultures as being arbitrary, and get to that common general practice that is accepted to all.
I think that is the point we have. We have, I think, really, it ought to have happened long ago. Long before now. Unless we say it's not too late. We can always start from somewhere. Because most of the problems we are having today is because of the failure to address what we have just identified.
Yes.
We are failed to allow people to sit down, to negotiate, and to agree, and say, this thing is common to us. Okay, put it there. I used to say, you have Section 33 of the Constitution, which is all Nigerians are entitled to right to life.
Yes.
But what value does a culture attach to human life?
Exactly.
That will determine how that right
will be carried out.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, you cannot compel everybody. Nigerian Constitution now compels everybody to say you have a right to life. But the Constitution is not talking about the values, about it. You understand? So we need, the point we have gotten now, I think what we need is the right leadership.
Right, right.
If we have the right leadership, who knows all these things we are talking about, who has the competence,
right. Yeah.
You know,
okay,
and knowledge necessary
right.
to be able to tackle all this,
Let me go on a quick break, because there's so many angles we still want to retouch on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the issue of leadership and human rights abuse. BC had a question for the break. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So you talked about us finding the right leadership. Yes. And I am worried because I don't know if we have to just skip to leadership when we have not sorted ourselves as followers. Are we the right followers? A few days ago, I was in the car heading home, and a car was in front of me. Somebody just finished eating a plate of rice, this mama put with nylon and everything, and flung it outside the window. I wished I had koboko. I would have blocked the person and we would fight. I felt very irritated because I said, this is what we say every day. How do we get to a point where we get the right leaders when we ourselves are not working towards being the right followers? Is that ever going to be possible?
I think you have resolved it. There can't be a follower without a leader. The follower is following somebody. So there must be a leader before you can have followers. You know, leadership matters in everything, even in the family, at the family level. If the head of the family is not responsible, the family is in trouble. So what we need is the right leader. There was a time here where people don't usually pay their tax freely. But there was a time a leader came and started working and said, this is your tax in action, working for you. And people saw it. People voluntarily started going to the tax office and say, yes, we want to pay. That's leadership. And I think that is what is lacking in Nigeria. Some of the problems we have been identifying are there leaders who are prepared to tackle them frontally. And we have those leaders, not that we don't have, but we have just identified that our system does not throw up such leaders. In fact, what they do is to repel such leaders. So I think we should begin to target the political parties to say, hello, if you don't give us also kind of leaders, we will not vote for you. I think it's high time we have to begin to put the parties under intense pressure.
But Nigerians are tempted. I always say to 2015, we are tempted. Yes. We wanted change and we thought we could get it. And we looked for parties that, you know, we thought would have the same agenda. And they sold us what we wanted to hear.
Yes.
They got into power. Is it not the education of the mind that we need to do now? And it's not, this is not going to be a 4-year plan that will prepare us for elections. That's where the problem is. So we need to change the forms of values that we have. Some of our cultures are not serving us anymore. You talked about the value of life, and immediately I remembered the Diya system in the in Islam, and how they valued life, and how they translated it into their laws, and how we always leave it for God, Asikoto, you know, here. So for somebody to now arrive at what we can call a general standard that will ensure that justice is done if a life is taken, we need to really start an education system. If a leader comes in today and tells us, I have everything, is it not that quality of education that we think we need, that we should be looking at for that, in that leader?
I think yes, I agree with you. The quality of education of that leader matters.
Not the BSc,
not the BSc thing. It must be somebody who has leadership qualities. It must be competent. Competence matters so much. It must be educated, you know, formally and informally. He should know the history of his own people. He should know the culture, the antecedents. And when you are going to govern a country like Nigeria, you must know the history of the different nationalities. You must be able to identify them, and you must be a strategist to be able to balance those cultural expectations together. And so that when you are dispensing power and authority, you know that you can't dispense the same to all of them.
How do we test for all these criteria?
It is up to the political parties. No, that's why there must be people there. It's unfortunate that we cannot really trust those political parties to do this for us. But it is high time we demand it of them. Or we amend that constitution and allow independent candidates.
Yes. So, Mr. Ojo, it's easy, I think, to be able to point out to the person that has this experience here and does this. But there was a time that integrity was also put on the ballot paper. And we're asked to vote for that.
Yes.
But how do you test integrity if you don't have to, when it's not in play? Just being told about integrity does not necessarily turn out.
Yes,
the way
yes. It's a pity. You see, in politics, people are generally under the influence of propaganda. When you say integrity, they will narrow it down, condition your mind. Integrity is also about not being corrupt. Any abuse of power is part of corruption. Look at the antecedent of this person. For instance, somebody who has participated in a coup, who has overthrown a government, is corrupt. He has no integrity. Because if you have integrity, you will not participate in such a thing that will destroy society. If you can build, you will not destroy. That's it.
I like that.
You understand? And if you find somewhere where destruction has taken place, then you must be a builder.
Well, many will say that many countries had to go through some kind of destruction before they started rebuilding to find the pieces. Because there are those brave heroes of the past that overthrew governments. So sometimes you need a bit of destruction.
Yes, I think we have had enough destruction in Nigeria. I think it's high time now we need leaders who can build. Who can build the minds of the people. You can't build the minds of others if your mind yourself is not clear. If your mind is genderized, you won't be able to build others' mind. So we need leaders who are competent, who can look problems in the face and say this is a solution. If they should also know that the same solution may not apply to everybody within the same country. I mean,
this is one man or one woman we're talking about.
We need that. We need such a person.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we're going to be wrapping up on this very soon, but I think there's a role the judiciary also plays in all of this because I think since the insurrection that happened in the US, we realized that madness is not an African thing. We are all mad in one way or the other. Somehow, anybody can go crazy and pull down something. But I think it's the rule of law, the judicial system that helps to protect our rights. That's that arm of government is our last resort to ensure that no matter what level we are in, we can actually find solace that the judicial system of our country would back us up. And that right now is, a lot of Nigerians feel that they cannot totally rely, especially on the length of time it takes to resolve one case. So isn't that a function of an abuse in itself? That I can't depend on the judicial system because I've been abused. I'm a citizen and I want to go to court. And either the police extorts money from me, or the judicial system extorts money from me, and I still don't have solace. So I'm being abused across board.
Yeah, I think I will just give you 2 points on that. First is that the rule of law, the judiciary determines based on the law existing in that country. They don't determine based on morality, their personal morality or culture or feelings. They have to look at what the law says. And the highest law in the land is the Constitution. So where you don't get your Constitution correct, where the Constitution does not reflect the wishes, the agreement of the people, then there will be a problem. I used to say even our Constitution does not even recognize our existence.
Ew.
Yes. You won't find the list of the tribe, the nationalities in Nigeria. You won't find them in the Constitution. It's a deliberate dilution to say that you don't exist. You only belong to local governments created by the military. You belong to states created by the military. So we need a constitution that we first identify, recognize that we exist. These are the Nigerians. When we say Nigerian, we refer to the Edo, the Efik, the Nupe, the Ijaw. List all of them. They say we are 300, 400. List it. After all, the constitution listed 774 local governments. If you can, why can't you list 400 nationalities?
Wow.
So that's the takeoff point. And if we're able to do that, we involve our constitution, then judiciary, we only work on the basis of what the people have agreed upon. That's the starting, that's the foundation. If we don't get that foundation correctly, we keep on managing one problem or the other and beating about the bush. And now the rule of law reflects all this. So it talks about human rights dependent on your law. If your constitution does not recognize your human rights, or it recognizes it with one hand and takes away with the other. Look at the current problem we are having over revenue allocation. When did Nigerians sit down to agree that this is how VAT should be shared? It was never agreed upon. That's why we have problems.
Interesting. We have to wrap up on it, but I think...
So we need a leader who can lead in that process, leader who knows what the rule of law means. We're talking about restructuring in so many ways, and we're back now to the issue of constitutional review in different ways, in the face of human rights. I mean, the revenue allocation, resource control, so many things. You see, the National Assembly cannot review the Constitution. It's the people. The National Assembly is a product of this same military constitution. So they cannot.
They are representatives.
Because the military constitution says they should represent you, not your consent.
Wow. Okay, we have to wrap up on that. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. I think it was a good conversation on this, and I think we were able to highlight some important things on that. So constitution is very key in defending the human rights of Nigerians. Recognize us first. Let's even know that we exist so we can start talking about human rights. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll move to our other Let's Talk. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is Monday, another sit-at-home day in the entire Southeast, which includes Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo states. Now, the president visited last week, I think last weekend, he visited Imo State last Thursday, and he met with leaders from the region where he emphasized on the unity of the country. Now, join us to speak on this sit-at-home order and many other things concerning the president's visit is the Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State, Honorable Uchenna Oji. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
So the president was in Imo State last week, and everybody was watching keenly at the acceptance or his entire visit and how people responded to it. What's your own general review about his visitation to that region? And would you say you believe and accept everything he has said concerning the security of the Southeastern people?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the visit of Mr. President to Imo State was part of his presidential duties of having a working visit to different states. We operate a federated state under a presidential system of government. And you know that even in the last tenure of his administration, he visited Ebonyi State, and Ebonyi became the first state he did visit and slept over after Katsina, his home state. And so coming to Imo State at this point is part of his working visit. Of course, he came to commission some projects by His Excellency Senator Hopo Uzodimma. So his visit and engagement with leaders of Southeast is actually part of what should be in a presidential system of government. Now, of course, he was able to take home some of the issues raised by the Southeast leaders, of course, including security. But you agree that security issue did not start with this administration? Never. And, of course, you know the issues that led to this insecurity in the nation, bad governance, brought about by years of misgovernance, mismanagement, and on the development of some parts of the nation. So he's coming for us who think it is also one of the ways of assuaging the feelings of Southeast and making us understand that we are part and parcel of the Federation. I must say that we commend very highly the president. In the face of all of this insecurity, he has shown maturity, as well as shown wisdom. And I'm pretty sure that the security agencies are doing their best. But the issue of security has to do with all stakeholders, coming on board on the table like this. But I want to say that even those that are not within the corridors of powers are not helping matters through social media posts, through inflammatory statements and all of this fake news. Insecurity, as it were, has been aggravated. But I'm sure that with the pace the president is going, that it will be addressed as soon as possible.
Okay, let's talk about the sit-at-home given by IPOP for every Monday. A lot of the Igbo people have complained that they are sitting at home not because they want to, but as a result of fear, because when they come out, they are likely to be vandalized. Is there any plan, as taking it from the president's visit and any security meeting on how they can help Igbo people get back to work?
As a matter of fact, to destroy is very easy, but to build is very, very difficult. Sit at home is not an order from a legitimate organization, and it's not being complied by anybody in the Southeast. It's just because of fear of a barrel of guns, which is nobody's friend, that doesn't know anybody, doesn't know brother or sister. That's why people tend to stay at home. But I tell you that sensitization is going on. At this point, security fortification is one of the issues that should be addressed, but it's not all there is. Engagement processes for me is the best, and that is why I can speak for my state. My dear governor has gone beyond talking with stakeholders at the state level. It's moving down to the rural communities, engaging the traditional rulers and the town union leaders, office holders, despite their political coloration, to understand that we are doing ourselves, to understand that if we continue with this pace, we are really artificially creating a very dangerous scenario that will deal with Southeast. For me, it's a Cold War that is internally motivated. We need to know that this is not the kind of agitation that we were hearing of about IPOP. Agitation for marginalization is not all about destroying the economy. It's not all about killing our people. It's not all about destroying property, whether private or public. So I think that time has come for all the stakeholders to rise up. Whether you're a market man or woman, whether you are a religious leader or traditional ruler, you need to rise up. These people are our brothers and sisters. Why are we destroying ourselves? We have had agitations in the past. It didn't happen like this.
Okay, so, looking at how people would say it's almost like a powerful message that you have people sitting down at home. You may call it from fear of whatever, but the people are saying that this is also the people in the Southeast saying they do not trust the state government to protect them. So we understand that they may be staying away because of fear, but also they could have come out knowing that the state government would have been there to protect them if there was any reason. So how do the state governors look at this? Do they see this front to the administration? Or that maybe they need to do more, or this is just something you need to do to convince people to be less afraid, and you have everything in place to protect your people?
Yeah, you will recall and agree with me that the spate of killings has actually reduced, as it were, in parts of Southeast. It's just that the fear of the past, what did happen in the past, is still what is holding our people. And so I can tell you categorically that we are beginning to have results. Those that have got the courage to come out to go about their business, nobody has molested them. And so watch out in the various states of the 5 states of the Southeast. We have not had such much issue of attack on people. So we just need to sensitize our people, because these people are our brothers too. And they are also listening to us. There's no need to continue to kill our people. They had started with killings, and now the issue of killing has reduced. But because of that fear, so I think that the security agencies are doing their best. Like I said, I can speak for my state. Every day like this, you see security agencies will begin to move around to police the various nooks and crannies. In addition to that, my state has what is called a CCTV camera. Every major junction of the metropolis and satellite town, we are monitoring the junctions through what we call a viewing center that we have. And if there is any case of attack on anybody or property, we will now know the person and we'll go after the person. But then it is not all about killing the people. It's all about getting to engage them.
We saw a CCTV camera, yes, that was gone down. But I don't think those who murdered that person will have been apprehended. So I'm not even sure the CCTV cameras are effective or are clear enough to apprehend these people.
If I knew you would ask this question, I would have told them to put our own CCTV camera at the view center in the screen, so you will see. But instead it is working. I can't speak for any other state.
Okay, go ahead.
So an average Igbo man is a go-getter, a hard worker. They will not sit at home while their businesses are failing. Is there possibly a silent acceptance, grievances that are genuine, agitations that they feel must be heard, that would make them align with the sit-at-home? And if they are, what exactly are the leaders of the Southwest doing leaders of the Southeast doing to get to these people, to convince them and to, push that agenda peacefully forward so that they don't resort to these methods of...
It is really a very wonderful question and a food for thought for our people. Yeah, they did mention the issue of marginalization, which I must concede to them that it is actually true. But this marginalization is partly governmental and partly individual. Individual in the sense that some of our leaders in the past had opportunities within the corridors of power at the national level. They couldn't attract any project to Southeast. Let me tell you, it's only under the present administration of President Mohamed Buhari that we're beginning to see very gigantic projects coming to Southeast and are starting to be contradicted. The second Niger Bridge, the national airport, Academy National Airport, some of our major roads, that is our critical highways. This administration has done that. And so the issue of presidency is what they're also mentioning, that as one of the tribes within the federation, we should be given the opportunity to have a shot at the presidency. And I give it to them. From 1960 to today, we've not had a very fair opportunity to have a presence at the presidency. But I think that, like you did say, it's not something for violent agitation. We need to engage peacefully. We need to engage within the confines of the law. And I think that with the current leaders that we have, of course, Southeast Governors Forum under my boss, the governor of Ebonyi State, is very strong. So we should be able to aggregate all of these agitation issues, hand over to them to engage relevant authorities. I do know that Mr. President has a listening ear, has been very quiet, very calm, very matured in the face of all of this very needless attacks.
Let me take this call, because I think is that mature and silence that is the people are having problems with. But let me take this call from Mr. Charles in the UK. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Are you there?
Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yes, my contribution is we don't tell ourselves the truth. I'm sorry I've not greeted you. This is my first time calling TVC.
Welcome to the show.
We don't tell ourselves the truth. When we get into the office, we forget about the electorate. The gentleman there is telling us things are on. Yes, things are good. He cannot, without his orderlies, go about in Ebonyi State. Here in UK, if I need to speak to my MP, if I want to go to the MP, I have all right. He's ready to accommodate me, listen to me. If I want to see him as the commissioner, it will take me donkey of years. Even if I write applications and what have you, I cannot see him. I cannot explain myself. Who says there is peace in Southeast is telling us a lie. We all see it. We don't need anybody to come and tell us. I'm from the Southeast. I don't know how old he is. I am about 65 years of age. We see how things work elsewhere. We go abroad. Some of them go abroad. They see life. They see things move very neat and fine. The Prime Minister of the United States.
So Charles' issue is the fact that accessibility of our leaders, which is one point. But I would go back to the president's visit, because a lot of people thought that this visit should mark some kind of a way of expressing the true thoughts and of views of the Southeasterners. So the issue of presidential rotation, the issue of the fact that you said that many Igbos do agree that we should have an Igbo leader for this 2023. The issue of the fact that there's been a bit of nepotism in appointments and marginalization, that is there. But the issue of the economy, we were reading this morning that Southeast is generating the least across the country concerning VAT. So what is your government or your governor doing to increase revenue generation in the Southeast, at least to be a major player in this conversation called Nigeria?
Yeah, before I respond to that, let me also mention that my governor is an exception to issue of inaccessibility. If you do a text to him as we are speaking from the studio, he will reply immediately. Day and night he's working for the people. Even the market man and woman does send a text, call him, and he does answer. The #1 most accessible leader in the nation, I must tell you. Having said that, this governor came as a governor of Ebonyi State in 2015. And then we had a dearth of infrastructure, human capital. Development was very poor. And when he came, he had to identify through need assessment our areas that needed attention or intervention, as it were. And I can tell you, what he has done is to say, I must give our state the best. Today we have Africa's biggest shopping mall, bigger than any mall in Lagos, anywhere in Africa. I am not exaggerating. Mr. Bruce of Silverbed came and did confirm that he's not a politician. Today we have a road system that is done by concrete pavement. It's only Dangote that is doing that. That is in Lagos. And he has done that for our state road. He has done over 1,500-kilometer road in concrete pavement. For the federal road, he didn't wait for Mr. President. He had to do not less than 500-kilometer road in concrete pavement. Today, Ebonyi State is a global village that is to bring about economic development. Of course, you know, Ebonyi was created in 1996 and had nothing until he came on board. Now, apart from this, he's doing international airport, and some people are saying, no, your state is too poor and too young to have an international airport. Without knowing that the governor is thinking higher, you know, in the next 100 years. He's looking at Ethiopian air business. So today...
Wait, let me pause you, because I have a caller. I'm not sure if these airports and malls are what Nigerians are looking for, but let me take Mr. Kalu's call. Mr. Kalu, are you there? He's been holding on for a while.
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
You are live. Go ahead, please.
Honorable Commissioner, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, actually, I just want to chip into something that you have been, you know, praising about that the governor Mehi has been done fine. What we have seen, he has tried.
Thank you.
But it's not a really issue in Ebonyi State. 90% of the killings, 90% of the Fulani herdsmen are moving around. And I want to tell you, I know that you have grown up as a farmer. You can tell us here now as a truth. Everybody in Ebonyi State are 100% farmers. Rice, yams, and so on. But why they accepted such Fulani package to put the Ebonyi people uncomfortable? I want to tell you what governor did, whether he moved from the PDP to APC. I call it to hide under one finger. To hide in one finger. If you let us know the package of Ebonyi to be free on that relief of the killing. Because no production in Ebonyi, apart from the farms. You can tell us that your mom and your dad is a farmer. And it's what they take to train you in school. Which is, I know, because I'm from Abia State. You know my name. I'm very clear. Thank you very much.
All right. Would you like to respond to him?
Yeah, let me respond by saying that I'm sure you're not from Ebonyi State, and you're talking from here, say, evidence. The issue of herdsmen in Ebonyi State, I can tell you that Ebonyi State is the most peaceful. In terms of herdsmen farmers clash, is about the lowest case. We've got a structure, a security structure that does interface between herdsmen, of course, traditional herdsmen, and farmers. That was until we had all of this unnecessary attack and counter-attack that made herdsmen to pull out for the time being. And we have got a legislation that does guide the workings of herdsmen to ensure they don't encroach into the rights of farmers. I want to show you that Ebonyi is safe, very safe. We have got no issue at all, no quarrel as I speak with you, with herdsmen. And let me also mention that Yes, we are an agrarian state, as it were, but the governor is trying to see how to industrialize our state by putting all of those interventions, critical infrastructure that will bring about industrialization. We've got a lot of things, private sector investment, indulgence into the economy of the state. And I can tell you that, distant time, you will see Ebonyi is going to boom. The governor is thinking about bequeathing to our people, to our state, an economy that will be the best in the Southeast, the economic hub of the Southeast. That is its intention. We are doing a lot to mechanize agriculture because we know we have comparative advantage in that. We are doing a lot to commercialize that. That is why he introduced 1 man, 1 hectare, meaning if you are a civil servant, a public servant, even a farmer, for you to deal with government, to relate to government, you must have equivalent of a hectare of land. And our idea is that through farming we have got to do a lot to, bring about self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and food security in our land. I must say that Ebonyi State under our governor is safe, and we are moving. You see us overtaking other states.
All right, so looking at the problem at hand, what is the solution to end the sit at home? Because it's becoming a problem, especially for schools. A lot of students will be writing their WAEC examinations soon. And if this is not lifted, they may not be able to. So what is the solution from the Southeast to end
The solution, I tell you, is engagement. Engagement with all of these people that are involved in all of this sit at home. Both the IPOP, those professional IPOP, and those who are kind of afraid of the attack by IPOP. Well, let me say that this engagement process is ongoing, and we're beginning to see results. If you go to Ebonyi State, you see people going about their business. So we're taking time to talk to people to understand that if you come out and nobody will attack you, these people are human beings. They are maybe lucid time. Let me use the word lucid time as a lawyer. They will see and appreciate the need not to attack anybody because they are brothers, they are our sisters. So be assured that we've got no issue.
Okay, so we'll take your word for it. The commissioner of the Ebonyi State is telling us that we can actually go about our normal business in Ebonyi, saying that the government will protect us, right? I can take that to the bank. Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Oji has been with us, telling us about safety in Ebonyi State. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.